Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of what we've been watching. This week we'll be rewriting a sequel. I'll be talking about what I've been watching this week, as well as covering some news, and at the end I'll be giving some recommendations. So, first things first, what have I been watching this week? I caught up with Only Murders in the Building. It's now up to episode 5 of season 5. It's a very good season so far. I'm enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying it slightly more than season 4, which was also good, but I think this season's been a slight improvement. Um, Great watch. Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez are all very good. The guest stars they have in it are always good. They managed to get some good names in the show. They've had the likes of Paul Rudd. This season they have Christoph Waltz, Renee Zellweger, Logan Lerman. They always get quite a stacked guest cast. So that's Only Murders in the Building on Disney Plus. Currently airing season 5 and seasons 1 to 4 are currently streaming. As well as that, this week, season 5 of Slow Horses premiered on Apple TV. This is a show that has consistently come out over the past 4 years, season 1 to 4. It's all been released year after year. Great show, follows a group of spies who were sort of outcasts from MI5. Great show, I did recommend this last week. Season 5's premiere was very good. Would highly recommend giving that a watch. I did mention last week that they are currently filming season 7. They have season 6 filmed already, so they are, it will continue to be a yearly release. I really like that. It's based on a series of books by Mick Herron, and watching the premiere season 5 did make me want to sort of go back and continue reading the series, because I've read the first two of the series, and they were both very good. So I'd like to go back and finish that. As well as that, on Apple TV, I also caught up on a show called Platonic, which stars Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne. It is currently airing season 2. There's one episode left to come next week. It's a good show. I happened to stumble across it last year. I stumbled across season 1 and started watching it, and it's very good. It tells the story of this male female pair of best friends and what they get up to, sort of thing. They haven't spoken in years, and then they finally do reconnect. Rose Byrne's character has this husband and family. The Seth Rogen character has recently been through a divorce. He runs his own brewery, and it's very good. Um, I do quite like the fact that they never go in the direction of, oh, what if these two were romantically involved? I like that it is purely platonic. It does what it says in the tin. Season 2 is very good. Um, Finale is next week. Looking forward to that. I have no idea if it's been renewed for season 3 or anything yet, but I hope it has, because Apple TV, when they hit, they really do hit. They have some of the best shows about. So those are three new things that I watched this week. I also, over the past few weeks, I've been rewatching Arrow, which was a show that ran from 2012 till 2020. It's based on the comic book character Green Arrow. I really enjoyed it when it first aired watching it. There are some rough spots. It's one of those classic sort of 22, 23 episode seasons a year. Season 4 is very rough. I had completely forgotten what happened in season 7. And as I rewatched it, I realized, oh, the reason I forgot this is because it was so boring. But it was nice to revisit. I finished that the other night. The final season was quite strong because it does what, it's 8 years. So a lot of the final season is callbacks to the previous 7. And I do quite like when shows get a bit nostalgic. It does it quite well. Arrow had a lot of spin offs. I'm not going to be rewatching all those because there was a lot. But yes, it was nice to revisit Arrow. Good show with some rough bits, but most shows have that. Now, last Friday, I went to see a new film starring Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie entitled A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. I went on a date to see this film, and I'm just going to say up top, I hate this film. This film, the more I think about it, the more this film annoys me. The basic plot is Margot Robbie's character and Colin Farrell's character rent these cars, and the sat nav takes them on a big, bold, beautiful journey, in which at every stop they go through doors, and the door takes them into their past. So it deals a lot with their childhoods, their relationship with their parents, what happened in their past to result in them being the people they are today. But my God, it thinks it's so deep. Like, it honestly thinks it's being so thought provoking. It's not. I was sat there the entire time going, can they just get together? We all know that's where it's leading. It completely just, it left me so cold, so annoyed, and so just cold overall. You've got them thinking. I remember when I seen the trailer, there's a line Margot Robbie's character says where she's like, I'll only end up hurting you. And Colin Farrell's character replies with, but what if I hurt you? And I remember thinking, that's a rough line. I hope that is an exception to the rest. Because the rest of the film in the trailer did look interesting to me. But I thought, I hope that is a rough line in what overall could be a fun movie. Could be a fun sort of rom com type thing. God, I was wrong. It was that line sort of encapsulates everything wrong with that movie. Because this is like when they first meet. Like, I'll only end up hurting you. But what if I hurt you? The person I went on the date with did have to hear me saying, but what if I hurt you? Quite a lot after. My instant thought with it is this is like student film levels of deep. As someone who has seen a lot of student films, a lot of them try to be very deep and thought provoking, and it rarely lands, in my opinion. Not to say you shouldn't try, but just, I think, you gotta be good. You gotta have a certain level of skill. Having said all that, about how much it annoys me, the story annoys me, the characters annoy me, but visually, I think it looks really nice. Like, it looks gorgeous. It's pretty to look at, but I'm not going to be rewatching it purely for the visuals. That's not why I would rewatch a film. If the story's not good, the characters aren't good, I'm not going to rush to rewatch. I would maybe rewatch purely for the sake of taking the piss out of this film, but that's it, really. And Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie both give good performances with what they have. I think Colin Farrell's performance is slightly better than Margot Robbie's because I really did not like her character at all. His character was annoying, but I was like, slightly more likable than Margot Robbie's. But it was, it was a rough film. When I finished it, I turned to the person I was with and said, so what did you think of the film? I think she did enjoy it slightly more than me, but I would say we both weren't like major fans of it. And also, I'm going to segue in to, we were in the cinema to see this, and I want to talk about cinema etiquette for a moment. People have no idea how to behave in the cinema. In this screening, there was only 8 people, so 4 different pairs of people. Myself, the person I was with, and 3 other pairs. 2 of the pairs were behind us, and 1 of the pairs was in front. And all 3 of them did something at the start that I think was bad etiquette. So 75% of the people in this screening had bad etiquette, in my opinion. Maybe other people won't think this. There were 2 behind us, and as the film started, one of the couples were talking to each other, like as the film started, not even during the adverts and the trailers. I think a bit of chat during that's fine, especially adverts, even trailers, because you're always going to do that thing where you turn to the person you're with and go, "Oh, well, how about that one?" Or, "Oh, maybe go see that." But they were talking as the film started, and I thought, you've had about 20 minutes to talk here. This is where you be quiet. Me and the person I was with had discussed this beforehand, and we were in big agreement that we do not speak during the actual film if you're watching it in a cinema. At home, it can be different. But in the cinema, you basically stay silent unless you're at like a big event film. But so had those 2 talking, and not even like quietly, they were quite. I could basically hear everything they were saying. They stopped, I would say, 3 minutes into the film. Do I think I would have said something to them? I don't know. I'm not a confrontational person, so I don't know. Um, Now the other pair behind us. Again, this was as the film was starting, so again they had had 20 minutes to sort this. They were suddenly rustling all their snacks. Like all snacks they bought in. Rustle, 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 crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. My God, you've had 20 minutes to sort out what you're going to be eating or drinking. Get it sorted. I mean, that's one thing during this film. Me and the person I was with, we did buy a popcorn. but it was quite a quiet film. Like there was no big bombastic sounds. Popcorn can be quite loud, so by the end of it, we had loads of that popcorn left because both of us were like, "This is going to make so much noise with the hooking around to get the popcorn, putting it in your mouth, and then the crunching. It's a lot of noise in a quiet film." So we were very careful about that. We had loads of it left by the time the film came to an end. So we had talking on one side, rustling on the other, and the last set of people, they came in before the film started. They found their seats, and one of them then got up to go out. I'm assuming either to get something to eat or to go to the toilet or something like that. And they came in a couple of minutes into when the film had started, and they already knew where they were sitting. And the film wasn't crowded enough where finding your seat would be difficult. But what did they do? They put their torch on their phone on, like full brightness to find their seat. And oh, I was inside. I was raging. It was pure rage about these three couples. And I thought, it's on this date with this girl, and I'm thinking, can I go off on one about this, or will that like jeopardize any potential next dates? So I didn't like go fully off after the film or anything, but I did say to her, I did talk a lot about this etiquette. Luckily, she didn't run away, so that was good. But yeah, cinema etiquette, people need to have a word with themselves. So that's everything with cinema etiquette that I wanted to discuss. Um, and in case you haven't guessed it, not to spoil my recommendations this week, but I'm not going to be recommending A Big Bold Beautiful Journey. The film annoyed me so much. Now, I do have some news here that I'd like to talk about, just a few small bits. So, Avengers Doomsday has finished principal photography. Obviously, they'll have to go back for reshoots and stuff like that, but principal photography is done. This is due to come out December 2026. I have no idea with this film if I'm excited for it or if I'm just going to go and see it because I am going to go and see it. There's no doubt about that. I will go and see it. They will get money from me, but I don't know if I'm going to see it like when Infinity War and Endgame come out. I wanted to see those because I was really invested. I don't feel as invested this time round. There's a whole episode in and of itself, like what's happened with Marvel over the last few years. I think they've just done too much, but also too little. Like they've put out a lot of content, but has it really been leading to Doomsday? No, because they had to change plans quite last minute. So Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, that could be interesting. He will 100% take his mask off for a character who's sort of known for keeping his mask on. But I am cautiously optimistic. There's been no real set leaks of the film during filming, so that's interesting. No like big set leaks, which is quite surprising because even like Endgame and stuff had set leaks. But nothing here. It's probably all filmed in front of a green screen, actually, now that I think about it. But it could be interesting. They obviously did the set of chairs they revealed to reveal characters who were coming back and going to be in it. 5 hours for chairs. Don't ever do that again. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for this. Obviously, it'll lead into Secret Wars, which, if I had to theorize, I would say that's probably going to be more of Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame were more of like a celebration and a culmination of the past 10 years of the MCU at that point. This time, I think it'll be like everything Marvel film related, like Fox X Men, Tobey Maguire Spider Man, Andrew Garfield Spider Man, Wesley Snipes Blade. I feel like they'll just try and throw everyone in, even if it's just for like a quick one shot appearance. They'll throw everyone in, and it'll be more of a look back on all that. They'll finish Secret Wars. They'll reboot into one universe, and they probably won't touch the multiverse for a while after that. Which I wouldn't be too sad to see the end of the multiverse in the MCU because I don't think they've handled it very well. In Avengers Doomsday, Pedro Pascal will be in that as Mr. Fantastic, and I have purely said this for the purposes of segueing in to the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer released. So this is a film coming out next year, May 2026, with the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, played by Pedro Pascal, and Grogu, or Baby Yoda. So this, I believe, was originally supposed to be season 4 of the show, but it's been repurposed into the film. I'm not excited for this, which is a real. Such a shame to say that because I loved season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian. I hated season 3, and it's Mandalorian now. It just undoes everything that it ever does. So he takes off his helmet to save Grogu. Season 3 puts it back on. There we go. He's back in. He's back in with his religion. This film, they're bringing back his first ship, the Razor Crest. They're bringing that back, but this time it's got a yellow line on it. Okay, a yellow stripe on it. Okay, fair enough. He's got his sniper back. They're just undoing everything and putting him back to square one. It's directed by Jon Favreau, so that could be fun. I quite like Jon Favreau movies. Like Chef's a great film. Iron Man's great. Yeah, I'm not really excited for this film. I kind of completely forgot it was. I think last week I made a comment that the next big Star Wars film will be that Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Sean Levi. But no, it's next year, May. It's Mandalorian and Grogu. Another thing about this one is because the show was very much like looked like a film. It was filmed in the volume and stuff and looked very cinematic. The upgrade to being in cinemas now, it just makes me think you've put a Disney Plus show in the cinema. So why would you not just wait till streaming? Again, though, similar with Avengers Doomsday, I will go and see this. Even though Mandalorian Season 3 really annoyed me, I will go and see this. The final bit of news I wanted to talk about is Apple TV have halted the release of one of their new shows titled The Savant, starring Jessica Chastain. So, I hadn't really heard much about this show until they halted the release. I think it was due to come out on the 26th of September. So, as of recording, it was supposed to come out tomorrow. Apple said, after careful consideration, we have made the decision to postpone the Savant. Spokesperson said this in a statement. We appreciate your understanding and look forward to releasing the series at a future date. So they do plan on releasing it. I think they're waiting for maybe some tensions in America to cool down. So Chastain's character, Jessica Chastain's character, is infiltrating an online hate group in order to stop violence being committed in America. Apparently, it was based on like a Cosmopolitan article, and the character of the Savant is an elite investigator who tracks down angry men online. So it'll sort of deal with like incels, all those types of people, I think. And I think the reason for this sort of being put on halt is just due to various sort of reactions during the recent killing of Charlie Kirk in America. So Chastain did say that she's not aligned with Apple on the decision to postpone. She's never shied away from difficult subjects, and while she wishes this show wasn't so relevant, unfortunately it is, which sometimes I think shows have to be. It's art. Sometimes it is going to be relevant. I think halting it is a ridiculous decision. I think if it's made, just release it. It may be bad. It may get bad reviews. It may get good reviews. But if it's done, release it. A lot of people put a lot of work into this. To now halt it and people aren't sure when it's going to be released. I know if I'd made something and someone said, yo, we're not putting this out because this thing happened in the real world, I'm like, no, put it out. So yeah, it will come eventually, but right now it has been halted. Now, as I say, this is the first time I've really heard about this show, it being halted, so I probably will watch it now when it is actually released. I'll try and keep up to date with that show. So that's everything. Now we're going to go and rewrite a sequel. Hope you enjoy.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 2 of What We're Watching with me, Andrew, and Nathaniel. Today we're doing a brand new segment on the show entitled Making a Sequel Better, and it's as simple as that. We're each going to take a look at a series we've chose, or franchise, and we're going to take a sequel from that franchise that we thought did or didn't actually work, and then we're going to retool the sequel or change it altogether to make a better version of the one we actually got. Today, I'm going to be looking at the much hated and much maligned Alien 3 by David Fincher, a film widely hated despite the fact I think it's actually quite a competently made film, although it has the unfortunate position coming straight after two ultimate classics like Alien and Aliens. Saying that, I do think Alien 3 could have been a much better film, and here's my version of making the sequel better. The first thing I'd do for my version of Alien 3 would bring the franchise back to Earth. I would have Newt, Ripley, and Hicks all living together as a family James Cameron intended them to be. I would then have Hicks being based solely on Earth as he trains new recruits. The reason why he's now training new recruits on Earth and not being a space marine like he was once before is because he's really struggling to deal with the trauma of aliens. Whilst being a space marine and encountering conflict, the events of Aliens was something exceptional to Hicks, and it's really taken a toll on him. I imagine one scene in the film could feature him and the Army's doctor as he recounts stories from Aliens, intersplicing images from the previous film. Meanwhile, whilst we see Hicks dealing with the trauma in the film, Ripley is a completely different character. She's brought the fight back to Earth. Her character arc in Aliens was almost complete when she defeated the Alien Queen. But she's not ready to just settle there. She's trying to bring light to the events of what happened to the wider public. That's why she's now a journalist, trying to expose corporations like Weyland, Yutani for the corrupt corporations that they are. Ripley is now deeply distrusting of most people, including those in power, and knows that everything is not always as it seems. This is when we see a young man burst into a diner in New York. He runs over to a table where a family's eating, before sloping down. He looks uncomfortable, panting and sweating, grabbing at his chest. The family just want to help the man, but he keeps screaming, writhing in pain. That's when, much like the famous John Hurt scene in Alien 1, a xenomorph bursts out of his chest. Hearing reports from the local police station of the incident at the diner, Ripley makes her way there to try and find the xenomorph or any proof of what's going on. She can't believe that this is happening, and worst of all, it's happening on Earth. The one thing she feared most. Following the trail of blood from the man's open wound, she can't find the xenomorph anywhere, until she sees the trail leads to a back door. Fearing the worst, she boots the back door open, only to find it's already been caught by two men, one of them wearing a Weyland Yutani jacket. A chase scene then ensues where Ripley tries to chase the men from Weyland. Behind her, the police are chasing. In the chaos, Ripley loses her two men and is pulled over by the police. In trying to explain her actions, she begins explaining everything that's happened to her. And of course, like always, the people around Ripley do not believe that this is happening, much like the events of Aliens. Much of this film would now be an almost noir detective story, as Ripley tries to track down exactly what's going on at Weyland, who just so happens to have a major office in the centre of the city. We later find out that the man who found his way into the diner was a Weyland Yutani test subject to escape the lab. It seemed that before the events of Aliens, some test subjects were smuggled out of the planet and returned to Earth way before Ripley ever had the chance of destroying the installation. Ripley now knows that Earth is at stake, and Weyland could be breeding a whole new army of xenomorphs, unwittingly. She tries to release a story through the newspaper, but powers above put an end to it. She loses her job and all of her legitimacy. People keep calling Ripley crazy. How can this be happening? How can these monsters be real? She attempts to tell the police, the army, anyone who will listen, but everybody refuses to take a look at exactly what's going on at the Weyland Institute. Meanwhile, there are continuous reports of missing people and chest-bursting scenes, much like the one scene in the diner. Ripley needs to take the matter into her own hands, and the only one who can help her is Lieutenant Hicks. Up until the third act of the film, Ripley hasn't told Hicks what's going on, knowing that it might trigger the trauma he's facing. Despite this, he's the only one who can help, so she tells him exactly what's going on. This gives Hicks' character arc a chance to turn around. Much like Ripley faced her fear in Aliens, Hicks would now face his fear in Alien 3, as he faces up against the xenomorphs one last time. Enlisting a small group of his squadron that he trains from the camp, they load up with as much weapons as possible, and in the darkness of night, they head to the Weyland Institute for one last showdown. In this third act of the film, Hicks, Ripley, and the team of rogue Marines would enter the Weyland Institute, and it would be a lot easier than expected, as they find out the labs are destitute and the xenomorphs have already taken over. As they go deeper down into the basement of the Institute, they see the horrible experiments that were being done on humans being used as embryos and hosting the xenomorph eggs. They would also see a nest going deep into the sewers of the city as the xenomorphs were building up in numbers. Knowing that these sewers access the entire city, Ripley and Hicks knew there wasn't enough time, and they just had to deal with the problem there and then, Using explosive charges, they find themselves in the middle of the nest, and together, while the Marines hold off the Xenomorph warriors, they sacrifice themselves to destroy the Xenomorphs one last time, where it matters most, here at home. Embracing each other, they detonate the charges, making sure they kill the alien queen and all of the soldiers. The reason why I think my version of Alien 3 is far superior is first, we have Ripley, Hicks and Newt together, as intended at the start of the film. While Newt is an essential part of the story, there was some ideas I had where she would be a young cadet at the Marines, learning under General Hicks. She may be involved in the third act, but for the most part I think the story works better if she's not involved, and in my version, it's probably better she's away at college. I also think it finally gives a feeling of finality to the trilogy, and it brings the franchise to Earth, which was what was promised in the original marketing material. Ripley would die with the man she loves, knowing that Newt was finally safe, and the Xenomorphs were destroyed, along with Wayland. Hicks's character arc would also be complete, because in his last dying breath, he finally faced up to the fear and trauma that he faced. I think my version makes a much superior sequel, and would have been a hell of a crowd pleaser. But do let me know in the comments section below, do you think my version of Alien 3 is better than the original? Or would you take David Fincher's underrated classic instead? Please let me know what you think. This has been part 1 of Making Sequels Better with me, Andrew. Look out for part 2 soon, where Nathaniel pitches his idea for making a sequel better. Thank you, have a good one, all the best. Fripp out, bye bye.
Hello, and welcome to my portion of rewriting a sequel. I'll be tackling The Dark Knight Rises, the third film in the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan, released in 2012. So let's get into it. The first big difference I would make when rewriting The Dark Knight Rises is that Batman will have been active since The Dark Knight during that 8-year period. He would not have retired and he would have kept fighting criminals. The opening of this film would give a recap of the last 8 years since The Dark Knight. Batman has fought various classic villains that would fit in with the realism of the Nolanverse, including Black Mask, the Ventriloquist, Deadshot, Firefly, and Anarchy. All while fighting these villains, he has kept to his promise of being hunted by the Gotham City Police Department. Throughout the film, Alfred would be against Bruce's continued vigilantism, and their relationship is tense and argumentative. Early on, Bruce asks Lucius Fox to create a new batsuit for him that will allow him to be faster, with less armor. The Dent Act from the original Dark Knight Rises is something I would keep, and Blackgate Penitentiary would be full of prisoners due to the Dent Act. During the annual commemoration for Harvey Dent, Gordon would announce that he is retiring. His successor would be Ellen Yindel from the Dark Knight Returns comic. With her new role as commissioner, she is dead set on hunting down the Batman and bringing him to justice. It is revealed during this scene that Gordon has a burner phone that he keeps in contact with Batman. In South America, a fight club is active, and a brute force in a luchador mask with a tube from his wrist to the back of his neck is in charge. He enters beating a man almost to death. This brute force is Bane. After his fight, Bane sees a news report about the 8-year hunt for Batman in Gotham. Bane believes he has finally found a worthy opponent. Meanwhile, in Gotham, Batman is close to tracking down a serial killer named Victor Zsasz, who has kidnapped another victim. Batman crashes in before Zsasz can kill his latest victim. He beats Zsasz. In the last 8 years since The Dark Knight, Batman has become more ruthless with how he deals with criminals, leaving many of them with long-lasting injury. The GCPD learns of Zaz's whereabouts and that Batman is there. The new commissioner orders all officers to bring in both Zaz and the Batman. The police get Zaz without any issue due to the beating that Batman has put on him. A chase to catch Batman ensues across the city. Batman returns to the Batcave, having evaded the GCPD throughout the city. He's exhausted. Meanwhile, at Blackgate Penitentiary, Bane has made his way inside and caused a riot. He ends the riot by releasing every prisoner incarcerated out onto the city of Gotham. Batman sees the news of the Blackgate breakout. Although still exhausted from his chase with the GCPD, he gets back up and goes into Gotham. Gotham is in chaos, riots are happening all over the city, and the GCPD is using all their manpower to combat the criminals on the street. The Commissioner makes it clear that if Batman is spotted, he is still to be bought in. Batman makes his way through Gotham, saving citizens and stopping criminals. At one point, a squad of police officers have Batman dead to rights. When it looks like there is no way for Batman to escape, Jim Gordon appears and tells the officers to stand down. Jim Gordon is also out trying to help the city. When the officers leave, Batman thanks Gordon, to which Gordon comments on the witch hunt for Batman being wrong. Batman reminds him it is necessary. As the night turns into morning, with the joint efforts of Batman and the GCPD, slowly the released criminals on the street are being stopped. With the riots across the city coming to an end, Batman returns to the Batcave. His suit is damaged, covered in burns, scrapes, and bits of the armor have been ripped off. He is close to collapsing from exhaustion. A Spanish voice echoes throughout the Batcave. Batman sees a stranger. It's Bane. Bane reveals that he is the cause for the Blackgate breakout. Bane activates the venom on his wrist, and it pumps through the tube to his neck. Batman swings for Bane. Bane is able to dodge every hit thrown at him. He's toying with Batman. He's savouring this fight. Bane begins to beat Batman, throwing him around the Batcave, never giving Batman a chance to land a hit. Batman desperately grabs for various gadgets around the Batcave. Nothing works on Bane. Finally, with Batman almost being completely defeated, Bane lifts Batman above his head and bends Batman's back over his knee. The bat is broken. Alfred comes down to the Batcave later the same day, carrying a case containing the new suit Lucius has designed. He enters to the destroyed cave. Bane is nowhere to be seen. He sees Bruce lying on the ground, unable to move. A news report reveals that a number of powerful criminals have yet to be apprehended from the Blackgate breakout. These criminals include most of the major criminals Batman has taken down over the last 8 years. Bane gathers each of the still free criminals and brings them together. He announces to all of them that the city is once again theirs and they don't have to worry about the Batman. Bane also makes it clear that he is in charge of each of them. One of the mob bosses present questions Bane. To prove that he is in charge, Bane snaps the mob boss's neck so that all the other ones will work for him under fear. Months later, and Gotham is a hive of scum and villainy. Bruce is bedbound and being looked after by Alfred. The Commissioner is working hard to try and combat the influx of crime. Batman has been staying updated with all the crime in the city and knows that Bane is behind it. He knows that he's currently in no state to fight Bane, as any fight with Bane would potentially lead to Batman's death. But he knows that he must get stronger in order to stop this impossible force. A montage shows Bruce trying to bring himself back to full strength. He struggles throughout this. The police get word of where the mastermind behind all the current crime in Gotham may be and gear up to go and stop Bane. Jim Gordon hears about this plan and pleads with the new commissioner not to face Bane, as Bane will destroy any officer he is confronted with. The new commissioner does not listen and proceeds with her plan. Gordon contacts Batman on his burner phone. He's been trying for months to get info on Batman's disappearance. Batman gets the message from Gordon and realizes, regardless of his current physical state, he needs to face Bane and at least try and stop him. The GCPD surround the warehouse Bane has taken refuge in. They are ready to breach the building and bring Bane in. Upon breaching the building, the officers are faced with an empty room, with the only presence being Bane. Bane feels no threat from the officers. He taunts them before activating his venom to pulse through his body. He grows stronger. Bane begins to decimate the police. He does so with ease. The Commissioner is in a state of shock, watching her officers be torn apart. The roof of the warehouse crashes in. The Batman drops to the ground. He's in his new suit, a more comic book accurate suit. Less armor on this one, perhaps a grey suit with a yellow emblem behind the bat symbol. Bane brings his attention to Batman. Their final fight begins. Still no match for Bane's strength, Batman relies on his agility to avoid Bane's attack, hence wearing the new suit with less armor. making him faster. Using his agility, Batman clips the tube that pumps the venom into Bane. This causes Bane to lose strength and struggle. Batman is able to take the upper hand and beat Bane in this fight. After the fight is done, Bane is a broken man without his fix of venom. The Commissioner orders the officers to take both Batman and Bane into custody. The officers refuse to do this, having now seen Batman for the hero that he truly is. Batman leaves and disappears into the night. The ending of the film shows the new commissioner giving up her position, with Gordon being pleased about this. Lucius is designing more suits for Bruce. All the escaped Blackgate prisoners are being rounded up. At the annual ceremony commemorating Harvey Dent, Jim Gordon announces that Batman did not kill Harvey Dent, and Batman is now officially recognized as a hero in the city. The final shot of the film would be Batman atop a building as the bat signal shines bright in the sky. So, that is my first draft rewrite for The Dark Knight Rises. My version of the film would be closer to the comics, and although it would stick to the realism established in the Nolan Batman universe, we would see throughout it that there would be more fantastical elements, and the ending would set up that if this universe was ever to continue, it could be more fantastical. As opposed to ending on a somber note of Batman quote unquote dying, it would instead allow for his work to continue, but in a new age where he is no longer a debate around where the city stands on the issue of his presence. Instead, he is recognized as a hero. This is the first draft of this new version. If I had to work further on this, I would add more story for some of the side characters, as well as figure out the actual logistics of Batman healing from being broken. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments, and let us know if you have any ideas for a sequel that you would like to rewrite. I hope you enjoyed. Hello, and welcome to the final segment this week, where I'll be giving you my recommendations. I have two recommendations this week. One of them's a film, and the other is a TV show. My first recommendation will be the new film released recently, Caught Stealing. The overview of this film is when his punk rock neighbour asks him to take care of his cat for a few days, New York City bartender Hank Thompson, played by Austin Butler, suddenly finds himself caught in the middle of a motley crew of threatening gangsters who all want a piece of him. I seen this film a few weeks ago and I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the best films I've seen in the past couple of months. It was proper sort of, action, crime, but it also added something new. It was directed by Darren Aronofsky. It has a very good cast in Austin Butler, Zoe Kravitz, Matt Smith, Vincent D'Onofrio, Liev Schreiber's in there. It's got a very good cast, and overall, the film itself is just very well put together. It may have been slightly too long, in my opinion. I think you maybe could have trimmed off 10, 15 minutes of the runtime, but that's the case with a lot of modern films, in my opinion. So definitely check this out. It's one of those films I think, even if it doesn't do too well currently at the box office, people when they find it on streaming will really enjoy it. If I had to compare it to anything else, I would say it's similar to Baby Driver in some ways. It's also very different from Baby Driver, but there's a lot of similarities. Yes, Caught Stealing, fantastic. I would highly recommend checking it out when you're able to. My other recommendation this week is a TV show that ran from 2012 until 2014 called The Newsroom. This was written and created by Aaron Sorkin, famous for creating The West Wing, as well as working on films such as The Social Network and various others. The overview of this is at the Atlantic Cable News Channel, ACN. News anchor Will McAvoy is forced to collaborate with new colleagues after his previous team quits. They struggle to work together and produce quality content. So it's all about how this team can make the best news possible. It's set in America. It's quite relevant to today, a lot of the stuff they're covering. It does cover like actual real things that happened. So, although it was released in 2012, the first season, a lot of it relates to stuff that happened in 2011. So, they deal with the killing of Osama bin Laden, which is a really good episode. That's in season one. As of right now, I have finished season one and I am halfway through season two. And it's a very strong show. It's got a great cast. The cast for the show includes Jeff Daniels in the lead as Will McAvoy. Olivia Munn's in this. Now, I only know her from a few of the X-Men films. I can't really remember much about her in those films, but she's very good in this show. Emily Mortimer's in it. She's very good. It's got Dev Patel, Sam Waterston. It's got just a very good cast, and they all play off each other very well, which is to be expected with something written by Aaron Sorkin. The man knows how to write dialogue, uh, and it is written extremely well. The dialogue's very snappy, at times very cutting. Um, so a very good show. Hopefully, it continues to be good. As I say, I haven't finished all three seasons yet, but I'm hoping to get that done by for the next episode. So I'll come with a wee update for the newsroom. It's currently available on Sky/Now TV. So those are my two recommendations this week: Caught Stealing and The Newsroom. And that's everything for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Please let us know in the comments what you thought of my rewrite for The Dark Knight Rises and Andrew's rewrite for Alien 3. As well as let us know if you have any ideas for sequels that you think you could make better. And just let us know what you thought of this episode, what you'd like to see in the future, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.